Marketing almost has a magical power over people, and advertisers know this and they employ their techniques. And if they didn't believe in it, they wouldn't be spending $5 million, for example, for a 30-second Super Bowl ad. Guys, that's $166,000 per second. And that doesn't even count the amount of money they had to spend to actually bring the ad to fruition. So take, for example, Nike or Coke or Pepsi or Doritos or Budweiser. Do you know how many shoes or chips or beers or sodas you have to sell to equal $166,000 per second or $5 million for a 30-second spot? So ads work, and advertising has power and influence over people. So when you can steer the conversation and put eyes on certain things and keep eyes from other things, you can exercise great power over the masses. You have to walk very carefully in regard to the information you take in on the internet. Now, I've taken Steven Crowder up on his admonition to view all content with skepticism, including his own content. And I think that's an appropriate and necessary admonition, especially given the social pitfalls that we all have to navigate around in this current internet climate. So I've taken him up on it to the point of making several videos exposing his statist political positions as he hypocritically condemns others for holding the very beliefs in government which he himself possesses. Never was that seen more clearly than when he was basically taken to the logic-based woodshed by a college student named Yosef. If you're interested in seeing those, let me know and I'll have to re-upload them. They were removed last year when my main channel was terminated from the platform for over 7 months back in 2018. Nevertheless, I don't disagree with Crowder on everything and still believe there's much value to be gleaned from his content. As of the recording of this video, Crowder and his crew uploaded what I consider to be a very important video just a couple hours ago. According to Crowder, Democratic presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard's YouTube videos were being suppressed in search results in the United States while she was trending with that warmongering Hillary comment, causing her videos and channel to show up below videos about her from other pages when her name was searched. At the same time, Gabbard showed up at the top in search results in other countries, but not in the United States. Now, we've discussed this before here on my channel. This is why I began this video with a reminder about the power of getting the most amount of eyes on something, and conversely, keeping relevant eyes off of other things.
YouTube in the past has consistently argued that their algorithms, policies, that they are the results, well, they argue that it's a result of algorithms, but they do argue, let me be clear here, that the algorithms, the policies, the results that you find are often geographically dependent. That's something that we were told. It's something that many of you have been told. And that's because it's geographically dependent because it's designed to best serve viewing audiences with the most appropriate content for their search. I've heard this argument made a whole lot, and I expect it to be made now. If that's the case, I would implore YouTube, please, because I know someone there is watching. Could you please explain to me, your shareholders, and in all likelihood, a congressional hearing, why you believe it most appropriate in serving your audience to block the content of a United States presidential candidate exclusively in the country in which she is running? How is that best serving anybody? In the same way, how does it serve the audience searching for Steven Crowder changed my mind to not show them what it is that they are searching for?
The logic of Crowder's question here is, in my opinion, unassailable. There is literally no logic or even business sense to the actions that YouTube makes regarding the action or inaction of their algorithms.
I'm sure shareholders and people who want to understand how these algorithms and big tech work, they would love to know why it's in their best interest for users to not find the content they signed on for and are actively searching.
If I was Susan Wojcicki or a Google shareholder, I would definitely want to know the answer to this. I'd call a meeting tomorrow morning, if not immediately, and demand to get to the bottom of this nonsensical algorithm that literally gives subscribers searching for content the exact opposite of what they're looking for. It'd be like sitting in a restaurant booth and ordering steak and shrimp only to have them bring out a peanut butter and pickle sandwich covered in hot sauce. No restaurant could survive the idiocy of that kind of service. And yet, Alphabet Inc. through YouTube does this kind of thing all the time. And something Crowder didn't mention is that people who subscribe to certain channels get mysteriously unsubscribed. People who have hit the bell notification icon don't get notified. I hear it from people about my channels all the time. That'd be like subscribing to a fishing magazine, let's say, and the mailman making the executive decision to just throw your magazine in the trash rather than putting it in the mailbox like you requested. It's literally the exact wrong way to run a business.
How does allowing Tulsi Gabbard's channel and videos to show up everywhere around the world except for the United States best serve your audience? YouTube, you are in the information business. And I want to clarify this. We say big tech. No, it's the information business right now. From a business perspective, YouTube, how does it make sense to preclude your users from finding the content they are searching for specifically and passionately? The only answer I can come up with, in the face of mounting evidence, is that it's not even profit-driven, but to an extent ideological.
And I would simply add ideological to the point of costing major profits. Remember at the beginning of 2019, Alphabet Inc. reported a $70 billion loss in market cap. That's billion with a B, guys. And of course, they blame the loss largely on YouTube. Well, this is your reason. It's even antithetical to its own self-interest. It's literally tantamount to shooting yourself in the foot as you're pulling all your hair, teeth, and both eyes out of your head while you're throwing a banana peel under the other foot as you're balancing on a 200-foot high slippery steel beam. It's insanity.
And finally, to the detractors who I know will say, well, Tulsi's not a serious candidate, right? We hear this a lot. In the grand scheme, it doesn't really matter. Tulsi's not a serious candidate. Okay, you know what? I get it. Not very high in the polls. People say the same thing about us. Well, it's just some right-wing edgy channel. Who really cares? Well, actually, it's the biggest conservative channel in the history of the world's largest media platform because of you, and we are so grateful. I don't say that boastfully. I say that in a terrified, from a place of terror, because who knows where we'll be tomorrow. But the biggest conservative channel on the platform, they've actively tried to silence it. Tulsi Gabbard is not a serious candidate. I hear that. Well, let me ask you a question. Let's assume that's true. Why do you think that is? We often hear the left talk about big money in politics all the time, right? The Koch brothers, oil money. And listen, I think it's a problem, but the Koch brothers opposed Donald Trump. And money can't save people from the viral news cycle in 2019. Donald Trump, like it or not, is the new media president. He can affect the globe with his tweets. That's why it's an international scandal. You can't buy that. Bernie Sanders didn't have the money or the power that the Clintons did, and it took everything they had to try and shut him down. Why? Because of the radical new media landscape. Information in 2019 is more valuable in elections than money.
I agree partly with that, but here's the wrench in Crowder's clear-cut supposition. It doesn't matter who the candidate is. Bernie, Tulsi, the Clintons, Trump, no matter who you get in there, the Federal Reserve is still calling the shots. Nobody in Congress, in the judiciary, or the executive branch can override actions that they take. They've made this crystal clear.
What is the proper relationship, what should be the proper relationship between a chairman of the Fed and a president of the United States?
Well, first of all, the Federal Reserve is an independent agency, and that means basically that there is no other agency of government which can overrule actions that we take. So long as that is in place and there is no evidence that the administration or the Congress or anybody else is requesting that we do things other than what we think is the appropriate thing, then what the relationships are don't frankly matter.
And the IRS will continue to domestically terrorize each and every American as they continue to steal the product of their time and laboring energies. And we all know that they've got what it takes to take what you've got. So essentially, it doesn't matter who's suppressed or who's promoted. The same puppet masters maintain the same control and freedoms they currently enjoy, no matter who's at the helm of the figurehead position of the President of the United States or leader of the free world. So why all this drama and view fixing and search dishonesty? Why would Google not want you to search for a Council on Foreign Relations puppet like gun-grabbing, Second Amendment trampling Tulsi Gabbard or socialist comrade Bernie Sanders? And further, why would they do it to the detriment of their own bottom line? And why doesn't Steven Crowder or The Blaze or these other conservative channels talk about this power that the bankers actually wield? Is the Dog and Pony Show really that big and pervasive and convoluted? Have the bread and circuses gotten this far-reaching that they're even shutting down the voices that are sympathetic to their Agenda 2030 Trilateral Commission Bilderberg cause? This right here is probably the answer to those questions.
And right now, I am confident in saying that Tulsi Gabbard is being barred from access to or delivery of necessary information. Sure, listen, we don't know whether Tulsi Gabbard can get the votes and be a winning candidate. I'll give you that. Just like we don't know how large this very channel could grow if there were a level playing field. Let me paint a picture for you, for people who say, well, she's not a serious candidate. Asking you why. Let's run this little thought experiment. If back in the 60s, well, let's even say early 50s through late 50s through early 60s. Back in the 60s, JFK was completely banned from appearing on the only three main networks that existed, ABC, NBC, CBS, right? And then after a certain amount of time, it was an Indian going, boo! If he was banned from all of those networks, do you think he would have been the Democratic candidate? If he had never been allowed to appear on those networks which reached, I think, 28 million homes, that was about, we have the source here, 60% of United States households, do you think that he would have had the same fan base? Do you think he would have been a serious candidate on everyone's lips? I would argue likely not. Well, let's compare that. YouTube has 2 billion monthly active users and is used by 73% of United States adults. Google has a 90.46% share of the market as it relates to searches conducted online worldwide. It is far greater than the influence of every television network combined in the era of JFK or Nixon.
Now, guys, think about that reach. Think about the influence the information or lack of information has on the minds of people around the country and in the world who consume the content of Alphabet Inc. If you can control the mind, you can control the people and write yourself a blank check to implement the schemes you want to implement. And in the long run, this garners for you more power, more wealth, and more influence. If religion is the opiate of the masses, then religion better look out because social media is in second place and approaching fast. I'll leave the link to Crowder's full video in the description for you if you haven't seen it yet. It's definitely worth watching. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video. Before you go, check out our new shirt designs in the shirt store. Here's the Beta Hates America design. Hell no, you're not taking my AR-15. And nobody needs an AR-15. Well, nobody needs a whiny little bitch either. And yet, here you are. And against all enemies, Democrat and Republican. There are over 90 other kick-ass designs in the store and the links in the description. Your purchase supports the message of freedom on this channel. If you get something out of this content, help me beat YouTube's censorship algorithms by liking and sharing this video. And while you're here, why not watch a couple more of my videos? Until next time, stand firm, stay vigilant, and for the sake of all that is right and good, stop giving your rights away to tyrannical psychopaths who want to destroy this country.